It's 6:14 in the morning, the house is quiet, the coffee is still brewing, your kids are asleep in their beds. Then it happens. 3 hard knocks on the door. Not a polite knock, not a neighbor knock. Bang, bang, bang. Your body freezes before your mind can even catch up. You walk slowly toward the door, heart pounding so loud it feels like it might give you away. You look through the peephole and your stomach drops. 2 officers, dark jackets, big white letters across their chest. ICE. One of them is already reaching for the handle. They knock again, louder this time. Open the door. We need to talk. This is the moment no one prepares you for. And here's the truth most people don't realize until it's too late. What you say or don't say in the next 60 seconds can determine whether you walk back into your kitchen or spend the next few days in a detention center followed by a plane ride that changes your life forever. Right now, at this door, there are 3 specific words that can stop everything in its tracks. Say the wrong thing and you may never get the chance to fix it. What makes this even more terrifying is that most people don't lose because they did something illegal. They lose because they made one tiny mistake in the first 30 seconds. They opened the door. They answered one simple question. They tried to be polite. They tried to explain. And just like that, their case was over before it ever began. No judge, no hearing, no second chance. Immigration officers are trained for this moment. You are not. They know exactly how to sound calm, friendly, and reasonable while guiding you into giving up your own rights. And the system is designed so that if you don't know what to say, it works against you fast. But by the end of this video, you will not be guessing. You will know exactly what those 3 words are, why they work, and the 2 things you must never do, no matter how scared you are. Because once you understand how this really works, you stop reacting in fear and you start protecting yourself and your family. Before we go any further, let us tell you who's speaking to you right now and why this matters. Welcome to U.S. citizenship and visa. Everything you're about to hear is not theory, not opinion, and not fear-based exaggeration. This is about real situations that happen every single day to real families who thought they would have more time, more warning, or more protection than they actually did. Our goal here is simple: to make sure that if this moment ever comes to your door, you don't freeze, you don't panic, and you don't accidentally destroy your own case by saying the wrong thing. This isn't about fighting officers or causing problems. It's about understanding your rights well enough to protect yourself calmly, legally, and intelligently when it matters most. Here's the hard truth most people never hear until it's too late. Nearly everyone who loses in these situations loses for the same reason. Not because they were dangerous, not because they were criminals, not because they didn't deserve to stay with their family. They lose because they don't know the rules of the game they're being pulled into. Immigration enforcement is not chaos. It's a system, and like any system, it has rules, procedures, and pressure points. The officers knocking on your door know these rules very well. They know exactly what they can do, what they cannot do, and most importantly, what they can convince you to do for them. They are trained to create urgency, confusion, and cooperation. And most people, especially good people, fall into that trap because they think being polite, honest, or helpful will protect them. It won't. The law doesn't reward good intentions. It only recognizes actions. And once you take the wrong action, even by accident, you often can't undo it. That's why this isn't about memorizing laws or arguing your case in the moment. It's about avoiding the traps that cause people to lose before they even realize they're playing. The first trap is the one that catches the most people because it doesn't feel like a trap at all. It sounds calm. It sounds reasonable. Sometimes it even sounds friendly. The officer doesn't start by threatening you or shouting orders. Instead, you hear something like, "Hey, we're just here to ask a few questions," or "We're looking for someone named Carlos Martinez. Is that you?" It feels harmless. It feels like all they want is a yes or no, and in that moment, your instinct kicks in. You don't want trouble. You don't want to seem uncooperative. You think answering will make this go away faster. But the moment you say, "Yes, that's me," something irreversible happens. You've identified yourself. You've confirmed the very thing they came to establish. You've handed them the first brick they need to build a case against you. They are trained to use your own words as evidence. Silence feels rude, but legally, silence is safety. Talking feels human, but in this situation, talking is often the fastest way to lose control. They are not there to help you explain your story. They are there to gather information, and every word you give them helps them do exactly that. The second trap looks official, and that's why it's so powerful. An officer holds up a piece of paper and says, "We have a warrant." The word alone is enough to make most people panic. Warrant sounds final. Warrant sounds like you have no choice. But here's what almost no one explains until it's too late. Not all warrants are the same. There are two types, and only one of them gives ICE the legal right to enter your home without your permission. An administrative warrant, often called an ICE warrant, is signed by an immigration officer or a supervisor. It may have logos, it may look formal, it may even say warrant in big letters, but it is not signed by a judge, and that detail changes everything. An administrative warrant does not give ICE the right to come into your home unless you let them in. Only a judicial warrant, one signed by a real judge from a real court, allows them to enter without your consent. If you open the door because you see a paper you don't understand, you are giving up your strongest protection voluntarily. They are counting on you not knowing the difference. They are counting on fear to make the decision for you, and once that door opens, the law shifts in their favor in ways most people never see coming. The third trap happens after fear has already set in, when you're tired, overwhelmed, and just want everything to stop. If officers detain you, they may place papers in front of you and say something like, "Just sign here and this will all be over faster." Or, "This is routine paperwork." But this is where so many people unknowingly give up their future. Some of those documents are voluntary departure forms. That sounds harmless, even cooperative. But what it really means is that you are agreeing to leave the country without fighting your case. You are surrendering rights you didn't even know you had. Once you sign, it can be nearly impossible to undo. Officers may rush you. They may downplay what you're signing. They may act like refusing will make things worse. That pressure is intentional. The system moves fast because speed benefits enforcement, not you. Nothing placed in front of you in that moment is just paperwork. It's a decision with life-altering consequences, and signing without legal advice is one of the most common and devastating mistakes people make. Now here's the shift you need to understand, because this is where fear turns into control. The law is not against you in this moment, and this is true regardless of your immigration status. The Constitution of the United States protects every person on American soil. Not citizens, not residents, people. Your first shield is the Fourth Amendment. It protects you from unreasonable searches and entry into your home. Officers cannot legally enter your home without a proper judicial warrant or your consent. Read that carefully. Or your consent. If you don't give permission and they don't have a judge's signature, they cannot lawfully come inside. Your second shield is the Fifth Amendment, which gives you the right to remain silent. You are not required to answer questions about where you were born, how you entered the country, or how long you've been here. Silence is not suspicious. Silence is a constitutional right. Your third shield is your right to an attorney. You can say at any point that you want to speak to a lawyer before answering questions. This is not disrespectful. It is not an admission of guilt. It is the smartest move you can make. Immigration officers know these protections exist. The entire system depends on you not fully understanding them in the moment. Now listen carefully, because this is the part you need to be able to recall under stress, half awake, with your heart racing. This is your action plan, and it only works if you keep it simple. Step 1 is the most important rule of all. Do not open the door. You are allowed to speak through the door. You are allowed to speak through a window. You are allowed to ask questions without unlocking anything. The moment you open that door, the situation changes. Officers can see inside. They can claim they observed something. They can place a foot in the doorway. Even opening it just a little removes protections you didn't realize you had. Keeping the door closed is not being difficult. It is using the law exactly as it was written to protect you. Step 2 is the question that decides everything. You say it calmly, clearly, and without emotion. Do you have a warrant signed by a judge? Not a warrant, not paperwork. A warrant signed by a judge. If they say no, or if they slide a document under the door that is signed by an ICE officer or supervisor instead of a judge, your response is just as simple. I do not consent to you entering my home. You don't argue. You don't explain. You don't add details. You repeat it if necessary. Calm repetition is power in this moment. Step 3. Is the core protection. The 3 words that can stop you from building a case against yourself. If they try to question you through the door, in a hallway, on the street, or anywhere else, you say, I remain silent. That's it. If you want to be more complete, you can say, I am exercising my right to remain silent and I want to speak to a lawyer. Then you stop talking. No stories, no explanations, no nervous justifications. Silence feels uncomfortable, but legally it is your strongest defense. The more you talk, the more material you give them to work with. Step 4 is about what not to do, even if emotions take over. Do not run. Running gives them a reason to chase and escalate. Do not lie about your name or identity. Lying can turn a civil immigration issue into a criminal charge. And do not physically resist. Resisting never helps your case and often makes everything worse. Stay calm. Stay still. Say nothing beyond asserting your rights and asking for a lawyer. There are 2 more rules that protect you after detention, and these are the ones people forget because they're exhausted, scared, and desperate for the situation to end. Step 5 is this. Do not sign anything. If papers are placed in front of you, your answer does not change no matter how many times they ask. You say, I will not sign anything until I speak to my attorney. That sentence alone can preserve your right to fight your case. Officers may tell you, signing will make things faster. They may say it's just a formality. They may imply that refusing will make things harder. None of that changes the reality. Once you sign, you may be agreeing to leave the country voluntarily, permanently, and without appeal. Speed benefits the system, not you. Your future is worth more than their timeline. Step 6 is preparation, because the best time to protect yourself is before this ever happens. Memorize the phone number of an immigration lawyer or a trusted legal aid organization. Write it down. Keep it in your wallet. Save it in your phone. Give a copy to a family member. If you are detained, you have the right to make a phone call. That right only helps you if you already know who to call. Now, let's talk about what happens when this doesn't happen at your front door, because stops don't always happen at home. They happen on the street, at a bus stop, in a parking lot while driving. The rules shift slightly, but your protection is still there if you know how to use it. The most important question in these situations is simple. Am I free to go? If the officer says yes, you leave calmly. You don't argue. You don't linger, you don't explain, you just walk away. If they say no, then you assert your rights immediately. You say, I am exercising my right to remain silent. I do not consent to any searches. I want to speak to a lawyer. And then you stop talking. You don't fill the silence. You don't try to make it easier. You let them do what they are going to do without helping them build a case against you. Silence and clarity are your protection here just as much as they are at your front door. Before we go any further, pause for a moment and ask yourself something important. If this situation happened tomorrow morning, would the people you love know what to do? Would your spouse know what to say? Would your parents panic? Would your children be confused and terrified? This is why information like this cannot stay in your head alone. If this video is helping you understand your rights more clearly, don't treat it like entertainment. Treat it like preparation. Save it. Share it. Send it to the people who would be affected if something went wrong. Not to scare them, but to calm them. Because calm comes from clarity. And clarity only comes from knowing exactly what to do before fear takes over. Preparation doesn't start at the door. It starts long before that knock ever happens. It starts with conversations you hope you'll never need, but will be grateful you had. Make a simple plan with your family. Decide who calls a lawyer. Decide who watches the kids. Decide where important documents are kept. Teach everyone one simple rule. Don't open the door. Don't answer questions. Don't sign anything without a lawyer. This isn't about living in fear. It's about removing panic from the equation. Panic is what causes mistakes. Prepared people don't panic. They pause. They remember. They protect themselves. Write down emergency phone numbers. Keep them somewhere visible. Practice the phrases out loud if you have to. It might feel uncomfortable now, but it will feel empowering later. The goal is not to be brave. The goal is to be ready. And let us leave you with this because this part matters just as much as the legal steps. Knowing your rights does not make you guilty. It does not make you suspicious. It does not mean you're hiding something. It means you respect yourself enough to understand the system you're living in. Every single day, people lose their chance to stay with their families, not because they were dangerous or dishonest, but because they didn't know what you now know. The law is complex by design. Confusion benefits enforcement. Knowledge protects you. You are not doing anything wrong by staying silent, by asking for a lawyer, or by refusing to sign away your future. You are doing exactly what the Constitution allows you to do. And once you truly understand that, fear loses its power. You stop reacting and you start choosing. Here's what we want you to remember above everything else. This system does not reward panic, explanations, or good intentions. It rewards clarity and restraint. The 3 words you've learned are not magic because they stop officers from doing their job. They matter because they stop you from doing their job for them. Every question you answer, every door you open, every paper you sign makes their process easier and your situation harder to reverse. But when you stay silent, when you ask for a lawyer, when you refuse to consent without a judge's order, you force the system to slow down. And when things slow down, rights matter again, judges matter again, lawyers matter again, time matters again. That space is where cases are fought and families are protected. This is not about winning in the moment. It's about not losing before you even get a chance. So, if this video gave you clarity, don't let that clarity disappear when the screen turns off. Share this with the people who need it most. Send it to your mother, your brother, that cousin who just arrived last year. Share it in your community group. Play it at the dinner table. Because information is not just knowledge, it's protection, and protection is how families stay together. If you want to keep learning how to stay informed, prepared, and one step ahead, make sure you're subscribed to U.S. citizenship and visa and notifications are on. We release videos like this regularly so you're never caught off guard by a system that depends on confusion. This is U.S. citizenship and visa. Know your rights. Protect your family. Stay safe.